Schedule for this afternoon is from 1:30 to 2:45. That'll be the panel, our third panel here. They'll have their opportunity to do their presentation, have a break, and then we're following the break. We'll have the remaining panel. So that essentially is our schedule. I think we're going to probably go half an hour over the anticipated 4 o'clock scheduled end time. But all that being said, I hope you all had a wonderful lunch. I understand Stu did a wonderful job, so I'll have to try and match his performance. And thank you once again, Stu, for being able to step in. Great. This panel here, this particular panel, the theme that was decided upon was what happens when you transform system to be more inclusive, and essentially that's the discussion we're having today, and some of the presentations this morning essentially involved some of those very topics. So it gives you a good sense of where we'll be heading with a discussion with this panel here, and I hope you've found what you've heard so far very enlightening and very riveting, as I have some of you have said that, and I believe that essentially begins to form the sense of the urgency of the work that we're doing here. And so with that, I would like to introduce Judge Marion Buller-Bennett, who is to my right. The panel that are accompanying her this afternoon are Brooke Alsbury, who is with Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Society Yukon, as well as Linda Kazon, who is with National Crime Prevention Canada, and Tricia Rattel, who's with Yukon Government Justice. And I heard the judge, Karen Ruddy, got hung up, so in a good way, I hope. So in court, that is, right? And I think one of the things that I think is important for us is to laugh a bit and just be thankful for the energy that the good food has brought you, because I think it's so great that we have the privilege of having such wonderful food to eat, and it's good for our souls. And I want to say a few words for Marianne. Judge Marion Buller-Bennett is a member of the Mistwassis First Nation in Saskatchewan. They have the best fans, right? They do. She graduated from the University of Victoria with with a BA and a bachelor's degree in law. Judge Buller-Bennett was called to the BC Bar in 1988, and as a lawyer, she practiced criminal and civil law. She's practiced criminal and civil law. She was commissioned counsel for the Caribou-Chilcotin Justice Inquiry, wrote her own report on legal services for Aboriginal people in BC. Judge Buller-Bennett was a member of the BC Police Commission and the Law Court Education Society. She has been a director and president of the Indigenous Bar Association in Canada and has published numerous articles about Aboriginal rights. She is the only First Nation female judge in BC. Hear it up. Let's hear it up. It's incredible. When I look at the role of our women in our communities, they have a very prominent role. It's just amazing. And it's such a great thing that we talk about the strengths that we have in the Yukon. You just look at the panel that we have up here in front of us that resembles the strength that we have. So, thumbs up. And she presides in all courts and is based in Port Coquitlam. And for the past 3 years, Judge Buller-Bennett has held the First Nations Court in New Westminster. The court takes a holistic approach to sentencing and is related to family court matters. So please welcome Judge Marion Buller-Bennett.
First, thank you very much for inviting me to attend and share my experiences with you. We're a little taller on the prairies.
short in every way.
It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you and share some of my experiences with you. Also, I want to thank the Yukon First Nations for welcoming us here. I was given the topic, what can happen when we change a system to be more inclusive? And my first response to that was, and I have a peculiar sense of humor, was anything. But I think they want me to talk a little bit longer than that. So, in order to attempt to answer that question, I'll pass along some of my observations, and these come from 15 and a half years as a provincial court judge, and for the last 3.5 years, the judge in First Nations court. That's a court that I started. This is not a scientific research report. I don't profess to be an expert about anything. And I have been wrong, and the Supreme Court of Canada told me that. First Nations Court is a division of the Provincial Court of British Columbia. In First Nations Court, we have adult criminal matters, youth court matters, and family court matters, and some days it's all at the same time. I get to wear 3 hats all at the same time. Some people think I should grow 2 more heads to do that. In First Nations Court, we develop healing plans. Technically, these are probation orders that are enforceable. But the goal is to help the offender deal with underlying issues such as trauma, substance abuse, and other forms of abuse. That's not the end of it. Just as importantly, we consider the offender's housing, health, education, and family. We try to apply what's commonly called the medicine wheel in the court. We want to know the emotional health, the spiritual health, the mental health, and the physical health of the person. The process in and of itself is very important and very time-consuming. Everyone in the courtroom gets to speak, if they want to. We have elders in attendance, we have lawyers, we have counselors, we have the offender, sometimes the offender's family, sometimes we have the victim. Everyone gets to speak. And speak directly to the offender and directly to me. We sit around a table. There's no raised dais for the judge. It's kind of more like sitting at a kitchen table some days. After a great deal of discussion sometimes, a great deal of laughter, tears, hugging, the offender tells me what his or her healing plan needs to be. It's their plan. It's not mine. Although I do technically make the order. If there is a related youth court or family court matter, such as a child apprehension, child protection issue, or custody and guardianship issue, all of those people are in court too. Actually, we had to move to a bigger courtroom. The goal is to develop a healing plan for the whole family. People have to come back. Once they walk out of the courtroom, it's not over till it's over. People come back for reviews of their healing plan. That's to hopefully give them a little bit of encouragement and help them with their commitment to their healing plan. It's also a time for fine-tuning. I say to the offender, what's working? What isn't working? What needs to be changed? How can we make it better? How can we help you? What have you accomplished in the last 30 days?